Wes Anderson is one of the premier filmmakers of our time that isn't like 80. Sorry, Scorsese. Anytime Anderson releases a new film, I'm seated. I'm gonna be there. I love Wes Anderson. So if you don't agree with any of my rankings in this video, you know where to find me. But I believe all these rankings are fair enough. I know people love their certain one, but I've done my research and I've seen them all and I love them all, but I do have some favorites. So here we go. Asteroid City, Wes Anderson's latest movie, was one of my least favorite of his. Let me just start off with, I think even the worst Wes Anderson is still a decent movie. However, Asteroid City just does not compare to his peak work. It had the bones of something, but I don't really know what. It wasn't funny, and I also didn't care about the characters. So what really did it have going for it? Besides boasting a loaded cast and looking honestly gorgeous, not too much, I find Asteroid City incredibly forgettable. I felt like there was so much going on in the movie that nothing stuck with me. This is also one of those times where the Wes Anderson-ness of the movie was just too much. Too much quirkiness and too little actual funny moments. I actually saw this in theaters and my theater was dead quiet throughout the entire movie. It's probably not good for a so-called comedy. I also thought there wasn't really anything new explored in Asteroid City. All the themes and the ideas in the movie have been done before and done better in his previous work. But hey, that alien guy is pretty cool. 'Cause there's nothing in this world to stop me worrying. Rushmore, this is Anderson's second feature film. I think Rushmore is more in line with a modern Wes Anderson movie. I think there's two great central performances from Jason Schwartzman and Bill Murray in this. The story revolves around this high schooler Max, played by Schwartzman, who is just eccentric and just crazy and, is like the typical Wes Anderson character, super smart, but kind of too smart for his own good sometimes. He befriends this local businessman, played by Murray, and they form this cute little bond. It's very fun. It's very lighthearted. Probably my least thought about Wes Anderson movie. I really don't think about Rushmore too much, but it's a solid movie and it just kind of bland for me. It feels safe looking at what he's done now. It just feels like a very clean cut, what he could do, but just scaled back a bit. And that's kind of why I don't really think about it. There's not like a shot I think about or like any set or any cool costumes I really remember. And that's kind of where it lacks for me. The French Dispatch, Wes Anderson's 2021 film about a French newspaper publishing its final issue following the death of its editor. The film follows three different stories: a murdering artist, a chess-playing revolutionary, and the kidnapping of a son during a dinner. For me, this is easily Anderson's most unique film. The dialogue and the cinematography of what you come to know and love, but the storylines and how it's taped together is unlike any of his other films. Uniqueness aside though, I'm actually not a huge fan of The French Dispatch. As with Asteroid City, I think the quirkiness outweighs the sustenance here. The story, albeit interesting, doesn't do a great job of bringing me in and making me care. It does feel somewhat shallow. That's not to say there weren't parts I enjoyed. I thought the first section with the prisoner artist was fantastic. Benicio del Toro is awesome as always. The other sections fell a bit flat for me. It feels like The French Dispatch should have been a part of the Netflix stuff Wes Anderson did. 20 to 25 minute stories that could stand alone. I think in that format these shorts would have been more enticing. When I was a boy, I thought of 5 times I'd be a man. Bottle Rocket. This is Wes Anderson's first feature film and it definitely feels like it. I still find it very fun and charming though. I mean, it lays a lot of the groundwork for like his future movies with the comedy and the silliness. Word of warning though, I mean, if you go and check this out, don't expect it to look like, Moonrise Kingdom or Grand Budapest. He hadn't really found his style in this. It's just messy, I would say, which is fine too. I mean, it's his first film, and I'm not gonna lie, I actually kind of like the messiness aspect of it. It's chaotic and fun. You could tell they were like all new at this, and they were just shooting and just having like a blast. And it's just so good and so fun. It's such a strong directorial debut. I mean, it's not up there with my favorite Wes Anderson's, it's just because I think he evolves so much more. But it's such a sweet story about these friends that want to be like criminal masterminds and are just so hilariously bad at it. But just such an enjoyable story, and it gets the job done. I mean, Bottle Rocket's the reason we have all the movies we have today. So good job, Bottle Rocket. Life Aquatic. I love a lot of things about Life Aquatic. I love the title, Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. I just love saying that. I love those red beanies they wear. I love the Portuguese David Bowie songs. The whole aura of this movie is just so enjoyable. I also thought this is Bill Murray's best performance in a Wes Anderson movie. I think he was fantastic in this. I also really like that, it's kind of an homage to those old Jacques Cousteau kind of goofy crime movies. It never takes itself too seriously. This is also just a Halloween costume movie. It's like the easiest costume ever. I know you've seen those dudes that pop on the red beanie and a polo and they're like, yeah, I'm Steve Zissou. But yeah, Life Aquatic, it's not his most popular movie. I think it's almost at that level of, I would say, cult Wes Anderson. It's popular with his diehards, and I would say it's like on that notoriety with like Darjeeling. But yeah, it's for his diehards, and that's kind of where it lands for me. It's not my favorite, but I understand the appeal. I just think there's Wes Anderson movies that do what they're trying to do in this movie better, or I just enjoy them more. Maybe it's a mix of both. Moonrise Kingdom. I remember watching this when it came out and I loved this movie. So when I went back and watched this for this video and didn't enjoy it as much as I used to, I was kind of confused. I remember the same movie, I just didn't love it as much. It might have been that I was 13 when I first watched this, and given the main characters around the same age probably affected that. But I would like to say that even though this isn't my favorite, I still think it's very solid. The story surrounds an orphan child who runs away from his Boy Scout camp with a girl he's been messaging. Moonrise Kingdom is so charming and has that childlike feel that you'd want from something like this. It's funny and has great supporting performances from Bruce Willis, Ed Norton, and Bill Murray. My least favorite performance is probably from the two child actors, and that's to be expected. I'm not saying they should be Oscar winners here, just kind of what I noticed. But regardless, this is such an enjoyable movie, and I also think it would be wrong not to mention the legacy of this movie. I think a lot of people love this movie. I also think this introduced a lot of people to Wes Anderson, and when I say a lot of people, I mean me. This was my first Wes Anderson. I was so taken back by how meticulous and organized this movie is, but at the same time being funny and outrageous and just goofy. I'm glad I saw this at 13 because I think that was the perfect time, and it was just a perfect starting point for me. Doesn't it seem that Roald Dahl books were written just for Wes Anderson? Roald Dahl's Fantastic Mr. Fox in Wes Anderson's hands for a stop-motion adaptation was the perfect pairing. Anderson maintains Dahl's story while imprinting his own style on it. There's the quick dialogue, symmetrical cinematography, and just overall beauty that we've come to expect when Anderson puts his name on a project. But with Fantastic Mr. Fox, it goes a step beyond. It's one thing to have your own style with live action, but to have a completely different look with stop-motion is just insane. There's nothing else that looks like this. And what is this? It feels like yarn or quilting or something put together that's so neat and also somehow messy. I also love how he used physics in this movie. He meets the outrageousness that animation demands head on. So many scenes in Fantastic Mr. Fox are just so fun to look at, and that's what this movie is. It's just flat out fun. The performances are also fantastic, pun intended. George Clooney should absolutely do more animated roles, and Willem Dafoe as that rat should have gotten an Oscar. But in Wes Anderson's overall catalog, I'm not sure where to place this. It is really fucking fun and really good. I just don't know if it's up there in the top 3 for me, but it's such a good movie. Check this one out. This is such a fun movie. The Darjeeling Limited. This is a weird one in Wes Anderson's catalog. Darjeeling is probably one of the least talked about Anderson movies, and I think I know why. It was right after Life Aquatic and Royal Tenenbaums, and just before fan favorites Fantastic Mr. Fox and Moonrise Kingdom, and I think it just got lost. It also might have to do with that, though I really enjoy Darjeeling. I actually think it's better than some of Anderson's previous work. I don't think it necessarily breaks any new ground with the storytelling. The story revolves around 3 brothers as they go to visit their mother in India after their father has died. Though a different plot, the idea of a child/adult that just lost a parent or has lost a parent going on a quest is not new for Anderson. A lot of Anderson protagonists feature characters that don't have a family or have family drama that's the driving force of the plot. But regardless of that fact, I really enjoyed this movie. I find Darjeeling very comforting and something I'll go back to when I have a rough day. It's probably one of my most rewatched movies. It's also one of the funnier Wes Anderson movies, and I think that's due to the cast of the 3 brothers. Adrian Brody, Jason Schwartzman, and Owen Wilson as the brothers have great chemistry together and play off each other and really bring this movie to life. One thing I would say about Darjeeling is just it's not your normal Wes Anderson, but it has the bones, but it's messier and more chaotic, and that really stands out to me. Stephanie says
that she wants.
The Royal Tenenbaums is Wes Anderson's Wes Anderson movie. This is the epitome of his type of filmmaking. The narration, the dialogue, the sets, the clothes, everything is to a T. This is a capital W Wes Anderson movie. If I was going to introduce someone to Wes Anderson, I would show him the Royal Tenenbaums. It's commercial and has stars, but it also has style and direction. If you don't like the Royal Tenenbaums, Wes Anderson's might not be for you. Revolving around the Tenenbaum family and their drama, Royal, the father of the 3 Tenenbaum children, tries to win back his family. To do this, Royal lies about having stomach cancer. He's able to move in and the chaos ensues. Gene Hackman, who plays Royal, is fantastic and really funny. He plays the asshole father so well, it's hard to believe he isn't that guy. The supporting cast of Gwyneth Paltrow, Ben Stiller, Luke and Owen Wilson, Danny Glover, and Angelica Houston are great and add a lot of character. The Royal Tenenbaum has such a weird plot and resolution. It just somewhat reminds me of The Big Lebowski, just kind of the feeling of what was all that for. Even though this isn't my favorite Wes Anderson, it's a lot of people's, and I understand why. This is his breakthrough, and it rightfully deserves its flowers. Isle of Dogs is so cute. I'm so happy this movie exists. In Wes Anderson's second animated feature, he wowed me again. Crafting a charming, funny, and sweet story is hard enough. Wes Anderson did it with half the movie being in untranslated Japanese. Taking place in a futuristic Japan, a dog flu has infected all of the dogs, forcing them to be placed on an isle of trash. A young boy in an airplane looking for his former dog crash lands on the island, setting off a hilarious, caring, and adorable tale of conspiracy, action, and just good old friendship. This movie is a huge win for dog people. Isle of Dogs is basically a big fuck you to cats. This is the only Wes Anderson movie I hadn't seen before this video, and I'm pissed I waited this long. I think Isle of Dogs gets a bit lost because of the Japanese being untranslated, thus much of the human dialogue is not understandable, but for me I never needed it. It's so interesting how much you can portray and understand just by facial expressions. It also made me feel like a dog. Dogs don't understand humans, and this is probably what it feels like to hear them talk. So thanks Wes Anderson for letting me dog roleplay. I know having Isle of Dogs this high is crazy to some of you, but the stories just did it for me. I was entranced and felt for all these little doggies, and I was way too invested in their well-being, but that's why Isle of Dogs is special. The Grand Budapest Hotel. What a beautiful movie. Grand Budapest is my favorite Wes Anderson movie for many reasons, but I think put simply, this is when he mastered what he does best. Dialogue is funny and quick, the cast is great, and features my favorite performance in a Wes Anderson movie from Ralph Fiennes, and just a beautifully crafted film. Revolving around the titular Grand Budapest Hotel, an old man tells a writer his story of how he came to own the hotel. This movie is beautiful and looks great and has amazing cinematography that everyone rightly talks about, but one aspect that always goes unmentioned is how funny this movie is. There were multiple scenes that just had me cracking up. The Wes Anderson type of comedy doesn't always work for me, but in Budapest it just clicks. I also think that relied on a great performance, and Fiennes stepped up to the plate. He is so good in this movie, it's a shame he didn't win an Oscar, but beyond that, I think this is Anderson's best use of his usual cast of character actors. Willem Dafoe is great as the goofy villain, F. Murray Abraham is fantastic, and Jeff Goldblum has the funniest line in this movie.
Did you just throw my cat out the window?
I know I said Darjeeling is my most rewatched, but Budapest has to be a close second. It is so easy to pick up anytime, and it's just an hour and a half, so it flies by. This movie is just a joy. Love this one. Check it out. Thank you so much for watching this video. This was really fun to make, and by fun I mean not fun. But yeah, you know, let me know if I ate and left no crumbs, or if I fucking folded and fumbled the bag. Yeah, so let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Alright, peace out.